The rejection wasn't the wound. The humiliation was the poison. She didn't just break your heart, she broke your reality. In a single calculated moment, she revealed that the entire foundation of your shared world was a fiction you had built for yourself. You were not a partner. You were an obstacle. You were not a lover. You were a resource that had been depleted. And the most brutal part? She made sure you understood this in front of an audience. Think back to that moment. The air grew thick. The background noise of the restaurant, the party, the casual get-together, it all faded into a dull hum. Your focus narrowed to her face, a mask of cold, polite indifference. Her words weren't shouted. They were worse. They were delivered with surgical precision, each one a scalpel slicing away at the identity you thought you had. She didn't leave you. She dismantled you piece by piece, while others watched. You felt their eyes on you, a mix of pity and morbid curiosity. You tried to hold a frame of composure, but your hands felt clumsy. Your smile felt like a death grimace, and the blood in your veins turned to ice. She wasn't ending a relationship. She was demonstrating her power, using your devotion as the stage for her final performance. You were a prop in the last act of a play you didn't even know you were in. You thought being the good guy, the supportive partner, the one who appeased and provided, would earn you loyalty. You operated under the delusion that love was a transaction of kindness. You failed to understand the fundamental law of human dynamics, a law Machiavelli articulated centuries ago. Power is the only currency that is never devalued. You sought to be loved, and in doing so, you made yourself contemptible. Machiavelli warned that a prince who wishes to maintain his rule must learn how not to be good. You, in your personal kingdom of two, tried to be nothing but good, and you were overthrown with casual ease. She didn't see a man to be respected. She saw a territory to be annexed, and then abandoned when its resources were stripped. Your vulnerability was not a strength she cherished. It was a weakness she exploited. If this fire in your gut is a familiar burn, if that scene of public execution replays in your mind, then you have found the right place. This is not a hospital for the heartbroken. This is a training ground for the strategically reborn. Before we go any further, I demand a declaration of intent. Subscribe to Psychological Dominion and activate all notifications, because the battlefield of the mind waits for no one. Like this video to signal that you are ready to stop being a pawn and start becoming the player who controls the board. And in the comments, I want to know two things. First, where in the world are you watching this from as you begin to forge your new self? And second, what was the single moment of humiliation that taught you that power is the only language that truly matters? Do not be ashamed of your scars. Here, we turn them into armor. We will weaponize the memory that was designed to break you. You see, the mistake was never in wanting her. The mistake was in believing your worth was determined by her acceptance. You handed her the gavel and allowed her to be the judge of your very existence. Every text you sent, every concession you made, every time you swallowed your own needs to accommodate hers, you were casting a vote against yourself. You were signaling to her, on a primal, unspoken level, that your reality was less important than hers, and human nature, especially in the brutal arena of attraction, abhors a vacuum of power. She didn't fall out of love, she lost respect, and respect is the iron framework upon which all attraction is built. Without it, love is just a hollow word for dependency. Machiavelli understood that appearances are paramount. He wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few really know what you are. You appeared to be a supplicant, a man so terrified of losing her that you were willing to lose yourself. And so, that is what she saw, and that is what she acted upon. She didn't reject the real you. She rejected the weak, trembling character you were playing. The character who outsourced his emotional stability to her moods. The character who believed his happiness was a prize in her possession. This is the fundamental error that turns potential kings into court jesters. You were playing checkers while she was playing chess, and your predictable, emotionally driven moves made you an easy capture. The pain you feel now is not just loss. It is the agonizing realization of your own strategic failure. It's the shame of being outmaneuvered, of being so transparent in your need that she could read your entire playbook before you even made your first move. But what if that pain could be transmuted? What if the humiliation that was meant to be your end could become your genesis? What if you could learn to control the frame of every single interaction, to build an internal state so unshakable that the validation of others becomes irrelevant? Imagine, for a moment, encountering her again. Not with the desperate hope of winning her back, but with the cold, magnetic composure of a man who has mastered his own mind. Imagine an aura of unpredictability and self-possession so powerful that it leaves her intrigued, off balance, and questioning her own decision. This is not a fantasy. This is the result of strategic psychological re-engineering. The question that hangs in the air, the one we will answer, is not how to get her back. It is how to build the man she is incapable of ever leaving again, the man she will realize she was a fool to ever test. What if the next time you saw her, the silence wasn't yours, but hers? A silence born not of awkwardness, but of a sudden, terrifying respect for the man you have become. Let's perform the autopsy. Your authority did not die in a single catastrophic event. It bled out slowly, through 1,000 small cuts you inflicted upon yourself. This was not a murder. It was a suicide by 1,000 concessions. The process is always the same, a predictable sequence of self-betrayal that begins long before the final, humiliating discard. It starts in the quiet moments, in the hesitations, in the words you failed to say. The first phase is emotional concession. It begins with the noble lie you tell yourself. I'm just being the bigger person, or I'm just trying to keep the peace. It starts when she has a bad day and makes it your problem. Her mood becomes the weather in your shared reality, and you, the dutiful weatherman, scramble to predict and manage it. She's upset about something trivial, a comment from a coworker, a forgotten item at the store. Instead of allowing her to regulate her own emotions like a sovereign adult, you absorb her negativity. You apologize for things that are not your fault. You walk on eggshells. You sacrifice your own peace of mind for a temporary ceasefire. She tested. You yielded. She learned that her emotional state held veto power over your reality. You thought you were showing empathy. In reality, you were teaching her that her feelings were more important than your principles. This is the first link in the chain of your servitude. When you apologized for something you didn't do, you signed your surrender. You handed her the emotional remote control to your own mind. From there, you slide inevitably into the second phase, the loss of frame control. The frame is the unspoken context of any interaction. It dictates whose reality takes precedence. The one who sets the frame wins. Every time she changed plans at the last minute and you accommodated without friction, you lost the frame. Every time you had an opinion, but softened it or abandoned it entirely when she showed the slightest disapproval, you lost the frame. Every argument that ended with you admitting fault just to stop the fighting was a catastrophic loss of the frame. You wanted to go to the mountains for vacation. She wanted the beach. You presented your case, but she presented her disappointment. Your logic was met with her emotion, and you folded. You went to the beach. In that moment, the vacation was no longer a shared experience. It was a tribute you paid to her emotional state. This isn't just in relationships. At work, your boss keeps piling on urgent tasks Friday at 4 p.m. because you've never once said, "That will have to wait until Monday." You've taught him that your time is less valuable than his poor planning. You became a reactor, not an actor. Your life became a script written by others, and you were merely playing your assigned role as the agreeable, accommodating man. A man who stands for nothing will be bent into any shape required. This leads directly to the third and most pathetic phase, validation seeking. Having surrendered your own internal compass, you now need her to tell you which way is north. Her approval becomes the drug you cannot live without. This manifests in the constant, needy questions. Are we okay? Did I do something wrong? Do you still love me? Every question is a confession of your own insecurity. You post a picture of the two of you online, and you check your phone obsessively, not for the likes from others, but for her comment, her digital stamp of approval. You buy her gifts not purely from a place of generosity, but with a desperate hope that the purchase will buy you a moment of her affection and validation. You become a performer, and she is your one-woman audience. Her applause is the only thing that quiets the screaming void inside you. The void that opened up the moment you decided her opinion of you was more important than your opinion of yourself. You sought her validation so desperately that you became invisible without it. And this addiction to her validation creates the fourth phase, affective dependency. Your emotional state is no longer your own. It is a direct reflection of hers. When she is happy, you feel a temporary relief, a fleeting sense of stability. When she is distant, cold, or unhappy, your world collapses into a state of panic. You cannot function. Your work suffers. Your focus shatters. Your entire being is consumed with one mission: fix her mood so you can feel okay again. She wasn't just your partner. She became your emotional host, and you, the parasite. You stopped having your own hobbies or passions unless she approved of them or participated in them. Her silence is dominance, not disinterest. When she pulls away, giving you one-word answers, she is conducting an experiment. She is testing the length of your leash. How long will it take for you to come crawling back, begging for a scrap of attention? The fall is not visible. It happens in the silence, in your hesitation, in the yes you utter, out of fear of that silence. This culminates in the final humiliating act of self-destruction, breaking the silence. After days of her calculated distance, you can't take it anymore. The anxiety is a physical sickness in your gut. You break. You send the wall of text, pouring out your heart, your confusion, your desperation. You call her, and when she doesn't answer, you call again. You leave a pleading voicemail. You demand to talk things out. You have shown your entire hand, revealing that you have absolutely no power, no self-control, and no life outside of her. She tested you, and you failed in the most spectacular way possible. You confirmed her deepest suspicion, that you are weak, that you need her more than she needs you, and that she has absolute and total power over you. By desperately seeking to close the distance, you gave her all the leverage she needed to create an infinite one. Now, I can hear the objections brewing in your mind. But isn't a good man supposed to be caring? Isn't compromise the key to a relationship? You have mistaken compromise for capitulation. You have confused caring with servitude. Let me be brutally clear. A man's compassion is a gift, granted from a position of strength and unwavering principle. A man's compromise is a strategic negotiation between two sovereign powers. What you were doing was not compromise. It was appeasement. And appeasement does not inspire love. It inspires contempt. It is the political equivalent of feeding a crocodile, hoping it will eat you last. You thought your goodness was an asset. It was your greatest liability because it was unanchored by a core of unshakable self-respect. If this diagnosis feels like a surgeon's blade cutting through the scar tissue of your own denial, then you are finally in the right place to begin the reconstruction. To ensure you do not falter, you must commit to the process. Subscribe to Psychological Dominion and activate every notification, because your enemies are not taking a day off. Like this video as a signal that you are done being the patient and are ready to become the surgeon. And in the comments below, answer this with absolute honesty. What was the one specific test she gave you? The one small request or emotional outburst you yielded to, that you now realize was the beginning of your unconditional surrender? Acknowledge the wound so we can finally cauterize it. Your fall from grace was not an accident. It was the predictable result of a flawed strategy. You played a game of love with the tactics of a beggar, hoping for charity when you should have been commanding respect. You abandoned your own kingdom to wander in hers, and were surprised when you were eventually cast out. The truth is harsh, but it is the only foundation upon which you can rebuild. You must accept it. You must internalize it, because no one is coming to save you. Your salvation is a project of solitary, ruthless self-creation. The man who was broken is gone. Our work is to forge what rises from his ashes. There is no going back for the weak man. There is only the construction of the new. The man you were, the one who was dismantled in public, is dead. Do not mourn him. Do not try to resurrect him. He was a flawed design, built on a foundation of hope and emotional dependency. He was built to be ruled. The entity we will forge now is built for one purpose: to dominate the reality it inhabits. This is not a process of healing. This is a tactical re-engineering of the self. Your emotions are not guides. They are liabilities to be contained, weaknesses to be cauterized. Your pain is not a wound to be nursed. It is fuel for the furnace where your new armor will be forged. This is the mechanism of your reconstruction. Your first command is this: cut the excess. Your life, as it stands, is a chaotic battlefield, littered with the emotional debris of your last defeat. You are carrying the weight of memories, digital ghosts, and sentimental trinkets that anchor you to the weak man you once were. You will perform a strategic purge. This is not an emotional act of rage. It is the cold, clean work of a surgeon removing a cancer. You will go through your phone and delete every photograph, every conversation history, every digital trace of her existence. You will not archive them. You will not save them to a hard drive for a moment of future weakness. You will obliterate them. This act is a declaration of war against your own sentimentality. You are signaling to your subconscious that the past is no longer a sanctuary. It is a contaminated zone. You will block her number. You will block her on every social media platform. You are not doing this to make a statement to her. You are doing this to remove her ability to send a probe into your new reality. You are building a fortress, and the first step is to seal every entryway. Any object in your home that is tied to her, gifts, mementos, will be thrown away. Not stored, not given away, destroyed. You must demonstrate to yourself that you have the will to erase the symbols of your own subjugation. You thought these things represented connection. They represent the chains that bound you. Break them. The second command: install the silence. Your greatest weapon in this new campaign is not what you say, but what you withhold. You have been trained by society to fill every silence, to explain yourself, to seek resolution through communication. This is the strategy of the weak. From this moment on, you will embrace the power of the void. You will become an information black hole. She, and the world that watched you fall, expects a reaction. They expect rage, despair, or pathetic attempts at reconciliation. You will give them nothing. Nothing is more unnerving than a calculated lack of response. Your silence is not passive. It is an active assertion of power. It communicates one brutal message: you no longer exist in a way that warrants my energy. When her inevitable breadcrumb text arrives, the casual, "Hey, how are you?" designed to test her control over you, it will be met with absolute silence. It is not to be debated. It is not to be considered. It is to be ignored. By not responding, you are not just ignoring her. You are rejecting the entire premise of her power over you. You are refusing to play the game. A man who wants to be loved will be discarded. A man who imposes his presence will be feared. And your presence, for now, will be a deafening, terrifying silence. The third command: control the reaction. The true war is not external. It is internal. It is the battle against the screaming addict in your own mind that craves a hit of her validation. This addict will tell you to check her social media from a fake account. It will tell you to ask mutual friends about her. It will whisper that your silence is making you look weak, not strong. You must recognize this voice for what it is: the ghost of the man you are leaving behind. You will starve this ghost until it fades into nothing. Your discipline in this is everything. Every time you feel the impulse to look for her, you will redirect that energy. You will go to the gym and push your body past its limits until the physical pain drowns out the emotional noise. You will read a page from a book on strategy, on power, on war. You will work on your business, your project, your mission. You are reprogramming your neurology, teaching it that the impulse for her leads not to the reward of information, but to the reward of self-improvement. Machiavelli wrote, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." Your internal addict is the trap. You must be the fox and recognize it. Your external mission is the wolf. You must become the lion and dominate it. These commands are the foundation. Now, we build the strategy upon them. You will reinstall the principle of scarcity. You were an abundant resource, always available, always eager. Now you will become a ghost. You will disappear from the social scenes where she might expect to see you. You will not post your progress online. Your transformation is not a performance for an audience. It is a classified military operation. Let them wonder. Let them speculate. The less they know, the more powerful their imagination becomes. Your absence will create a vacuum, and her mind, conditioned to your constant presence, will be forced to confront it. Be the absence that carries weight, not the presence that begs. If and when an interaction is absolutely unavoidable, it will be governed by a new protocol: minimal and unpredictable engagement. Your goal is not to be cold or rude. That is the reaction of a man who is still hurt. Your goal is to be indifferent, a man who is occupied with more important matters. The interaction must be brief. You are on your way somewhere else. Your time is valuable. You control the duration. You will be the one to end the conversation. Your demeanor will be unpredictable. One day, you might offer a polite, warm, but brief smile. The next, a detached, neutral nod. This inconsistency is a form of psychological warfare. It prevents her from establishing a baseline. It makes you impossible to read, and therefore impossible to control. She will leave the interaction more uncertain than when it began, and that uncertainty will occupy her mind. While you are a ghost in her world, you will be a titan in your own. All of the energy you once poured into her, the worry, the planning, the emotional labor, will now be ruthlessly redirected into the 4 pillars of masculine hierarchy. First, the physical. You will forge a body that communicates discipline, power, and danger. This is not about vanity. It is about embodying your own transformation. Second, the financial. You will become obsessed with your mission, your career, your ability to generate resources. Money is not just currency, it is freedom, options, and power. Third, the social. You will cultivate a network of strong, ambitious men. You will be seen in circles of influence. Your social value is not determined by one woman, but by the respect you command among men. Fourth, the symbolic. You will master a skill, develop a deep knowledge, become an authority in some domain. You will become a man of substance, not just a feeling. You are not trying to get her back. Do not win her back. Replace her with a sharper silence, and replace the man she left with a king she could never hope to command. This is not a path of hope. It is a blueprint for ascension. Hope is the currency of the powerless, the powerful deal in strategy and execution. You are not hoping she notices. You are building a reality so potent that it becomes impossible for her and for the entire world to ignore. If you are ready to stop being the victim of your circumstances and start being the architect of your dominion, then you must commit to this training. Subscribe to Psychological Dominion and activate all notifications, because every lesson is a weapon you cannot afford to be without. Like this video to declare that you are done with the man you were. And answer this in the comments with a single word. What is the one habit, memory, or person you will execute from your life, starting today, to clear the path for your rise? Let your answer be a contract with yourself, witnessed by all of us who walk this path. Your reconstruction has begun. The time for theory is over. The blueprints have been read, the old structure has been demolished, and the new fortress has been built, stone by silent stone. Now, the final test arrives. It always does. Not as a dramatic planned confrontation, but in the mundane chaos of life. A coffee shop, a grocery store aisle, a crowded street. The universe will always test the strength of your new reality. And so, you see her. The air does not grow thick. The noise does not fade. Your world does not narrow to her face, because your world is no longer an orbit around her. She is simply an object that has entered your field of vision. The man she broke would have felt a jolt of adrenaline, a cocktail of panic and hope. His heart would have hammered against his ribs, a desperate prisoner. His mind would have raced, calculating 1,000 possible scenarios, 1,000 ways to win an approval he no longer needs. But you are not him. You feel nothing but a mild, distant recognition. The same you might feel seeing a forgotten character from a show you used to watch. She sees you, and for a fleeting second, her mask of composure slips. She expects to see the ghost of the man she discarded, the haunted eyes, the forced smile, the desperate neediness. Instead, she sees a stranger in a familiar body. You are not looking at her with longing, but through her, as if your mind is already on the next more important objective of your day. There is no anger in your eyes. Anger would be a gift. It would mean she still mattered enough to provoke an emotion. There is only a placid, unreadable calm. The calm of a man whose internal state is no longer for sale. She approaches, driven by a confused cocktail of ego and curiosity. She needs to know if she still holds the key to your emotional prison. She offers a hesitant greeting, a test, a probe sent into your defenses. The old you would have seized this moment, this crumb of attention, and spilled a torrent of words, trying to prove how well you were doing. A performance designed for her validation. You do not. You give her a simple, neutral nod. Not cold, not warm. Just acknowledgement. Your response is brief, polite, and utterly devoid of investment. You do not ask how she is. You do not offer any information about your life. You are a closed system. Your energy is your own, and she is not granted access. This is the moment from the beginning of our journey, the moment we anticipated. The silence hangs in the air, but this time, it is not yours. It is hers. It is a silence born of utter confusion. You have not played the role she assigned you. You have not reacted. You have simply been. In your non-reaction, you have seized absolute control of the frame. You have communicated, without a single word of aggression, that her opinion, her presence, her very existence, is irrelevant to your mission. She is searching your face for a sign of the man she dominated, and she finds nothing. She finds only the chilling composure of a king who does not recognize a former trivial subject. You have flipped the chessboard, but more than that, you have already walked away from the game. You are not there to win. You are there to demonstrate that her game is too small for you to even play. You are the one to end the interaction. With another slight nod, you simply continue on your way, leaving her standing in the echo of your indifference. There is no final, witty remark. There is no dramatic exit. Your power is in the seamless, frictionless continuation of your own life. She has just witnessed a man who has mastered his own mind, a man who built an empire within himself while she was busy living in the ruins of the power she thought she had over him. The humiliation she inflicted was the poison, yes, but it was also the antidote. It was the catalyst that forced the creation of a man she is now utterly incapable of understanding, and therefore, incapable of influencing. She did not break your heart. She broke the cage that held you, and you flew so high that you have forgotten the ground where she still stands. This is the final lesson. Revenge is not a dish best served cold. Revenge is the dish you never serve at all, because you are dining at a far better table, one you built yourself. Your vengeance is your success. Your vengeance is your peace. Your vengeance is the utter and complete irrelevance of those who thought they could break you. You do not seek their respect. Respect is the tax the weak pay to the strong. You simply exist in a state of self-possessed power that makes respect the only logical response. It is not requested. It is commanded by your very presence, and even more so, by your strategic absence. You did not climb out of the hole she dug for you. You built a skyscraper from its depths, and the view from the top is so clear that you can no longer see the people on the ground. You did not lose her. You lost the weakness in yourself that needed her. The day she begins to doubt the man you have become is the day you will not even remember her name. If you are ready to finalize your transformation and commit to this path of absolute self-dominion, then your final orders are clear. Subscribe to Psychological Dominion and activate all notifications, because this is not an interest. It is a new operating system for your mind. Like this video as a final salute to the man you once were. And in the comments below, answer this one question that will seal your past and forge your future. What is the single greatest strength you discovered in yourself only after you were completely broken? Your answer is not for them. It is the first brick in the foundation of your new legacy.